Beast mode, I'm in beast mode. Gunning for the top, cock back, reload. I'm a new man with a new attitude, but don't get me wrong, I'm still me though. I'm all in now, I ain't bluffing. I risk everything, regret nothing. My determination's disgusting, so every day my ass I'm busting.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is Straight Out of Boston, aka the King of Boston, and today we have the wild card weekend for the Tennessee Titans Connected Career episode 20. And like I said, this is going to be the wild card weekend. Now, we do have a first round bye, so we're just going to simulate through this, but I'm going to recap some stuff like, standings and statistics, just go through some season stats. So we're going to start out with the standings, and we're going to skip ahead over to the AFC, but you can see that we do end up with the best record in the NFL, just ahead of the Saints, who ended up tying the Panthers, and if they had won that game, it would have been a tie, a dead tie, but anyway, you can see the AFC playoff standings here. We are the number 1 seed, 14-2, then it goes Jets, Steelers, Texans, Jaguars, and then the 7-9 San Diego Chargers getting into the playoffs after winning the AFC Midwest, which apparently was pretty mediocre, and it looks like the Browns tied the Bills. I'm pretty sure these guys didn't tie the Saints and Panthers because the Bills don't play the Saints, and the Browns don't play the Saints either, or the Panthers, because that's just how the scheduling works. I don't want to go in depth on how the scheduling works, but I figured it out a while ago. But anyway, we're going to go into the AFC South, and you can see here 3 AFC South teams make the playoffs, so it looks like one of the weaker divisions in football this year in real life. Actually turns out to be a pretty strong one, with the Colts just missing out at 7-9, Jaguars and Texans both getting in at 8-8 and 9-7 respectively. So now we're going to go over to the season stats. We're going to look at a couple players' stats. You're going to see Jake Locker with 4,000 yards and 36 touchdowns. 27 interceptions, not too good, but, we'll deal with it. Matt Hasselbeck threw for 232 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks, and Dennis Dixon did end up with 30 yards and a touchdown in that last game of the year. We go over to the rushing stats. Chris Johnson, as I said before, in that Week 16 game, he did break the rushing record. He ended up with 2,124 yards and 14 touchdowns. Not the most touchdowns, but that's partially because Locker got 3, and then Javon Ringer and Toby Gerhart each had 4 touchdowns, so you combine all these up, and that's, 25 touchdowns, I believe, so if they had all gone to Chris Johnson, that's what could happen. But anyway, that's not a big deal. He averaged 141.6 yards per game. It's pretty incredible. Did have 4 fumbles, but not as many as Locker's 10. So, yeah. And we go to the receiving. Jared Cook Jr. leading the way with 1,322 yards on 14 touchdowns. Pretty nice there. Nate Washington did end up with 10 touchdowns and 984 yards, and Kenny Britt actually had a decent year in the end with 744 yards and 5 touchdowns. And we're going to look at receptions. 77 catches for Jared Cook, and then just 44 for Britt, 40 for Washington, actually 37 for Chris Johnson, and 31 for Kendall Wright is how that rounded out. And we'll go over to defense quickly. We're going to look at the tackles. So we're going to sort. And Will Witherspoon ends up leading the way with 91 tackles. Michael Griffin with 68. Really nice to see at the free safety spot. Zach Dials with 66. And Camarion Wimbley. I promise you people, that's how you pronounce it. Camarion Wimbley. I looked it up. It's Camarion Wimbley. 61 tackles. And we're going to go over to sacks. You're going to see Camarion Wimbley also leading the way with 17 sacks. Jarrell Casey coming up with 6. Dave Ball with 4. And then a bunch of guys with 3 and 2. But Camarion Wimbley with an outstanding year. Almost thought he was going to make a run for the Michael Strahan sack record, but, it's whatever, not a big deal. In interceptions, you're going to see Jason McCourty leading the way with 6 interceptions. Cody Sensabaugh with 2, Jordan Babineau with 2, Alteron Werner, Tommy Campbell, Michael Griffin, and Colin McCarthy all with 1. McCarthy returned his 72 yards, so suck it. And Rob Baronis, 24-29, not the best, but not the worst field goal percentage. And, I'm sure if you cut out some of the ones that, I was just messing around with, you'd probably have a slightly higher one. Did go 67 of 67 from extra points, so that's pretty good. And punting, you can see, I don't really know how to evaluate the stats. Actually, one thing I want to look at is how Baronis did fare from 50 out. He was 7 of 11. But, so inside the 50-yard line, he only missed 1 all year. And that was a 49-yarder or something like that. So, pretty good for Rob Baronis. And we're going to also look at the Pro Bowling and award voting. So first we'll look at Pro Bowl voting. And you're going to see a few Titans players here. Mark Sanchez surprisingly make it as the starting QB for the AFC. And you're going to see Jake Locker is going to be 3rd string. So a really nice season ended up turning out to be for Jake Locker. And obviously Chris Johnson. Somehow I don't know why he's not starting over Jamal Charles, but whatever. He'll take his Pro Bowl bid. And nice to see Owen Schmidt get in there. guy who we signed in the preseason after he was a free agent, ends up turning into a Pro Bowler, so a really nice signing there. And we're also going to end up getting Nate Washington into the Pro Bowl. He was a big play machine all year, just barely getting in. And of course, Jared Cook, you knew he was going to get in. He had such a great year. I believe no one on the offensive line. And now we go over to defense. Cameron Wembley, of course, he's going to get in with his 17 sacks, starting right end for the AFC. And I don't think there's anyone else except for Jason McCourty leading the way for defensive backs, or cornerbacks, I should say, with his 6 interceptions. And I think that's going to be it. So I'll just quickly go through the AFC so you can see some names, see if you see anyone surprising. Cedric Benson is an interesting name. Looks like no one too surprising from the NFC side of things. Delaney Walker, who's actually on the Giants in this game. That's interesting. I wonder if he got traded or something. I'm not 100% sure, because I know these rosters were from the, before the preseason rosters came out, but I'm pretty sure Delaney Walker was always on the 49ers. That's interesting. And, alright, so no one too surprising there. And I'm pretty sure, yeah, they don't have kick returners or punt returners in this game. Now we'll just quickly go over to the NFL records just to see Chris Johnson's name in the record books. Go to rushing yards in a single season. Oh wait, here we go. Rushing yards, single season, and Chris Johnson leading the way with 2,124. So that's pretty cool. Becomes only the 7th guy to ever run for 2,000 yards. CJ2K is back. See some notable names like Amon Green, Barry Sanders, Earl Campbell, OJ Simpson, Chris Johnson, who ran for 2,000 back in 2009, Terrell Davis, Barry Sanders, Jamal Lewis, Ed Dickerson. No, not Ed Dickerson. Is it? I don't think it's Ed Dickerson. I can't remember his first name, and now I feel embarrassed, but whatever. Anyway, and we're going to go to the weekly awards just to see who won Player of the Week for us ever. So Jason McCourty did in the first week, back with those 3 interceptions and 2 touchdowns. Looks like no one in the weeks. Oh, well, there we go. Nate Washington, 220 yards, 2 touchdowns back in, what was that, week 4? And it doesn't look like, there we go, Colin McCarthy with that 72-yard interception return for a touchdown in week 9. And anyone else? Looks like Chris Johnson when he had 261 yards and 4 touchdowns back in week 13. And I think Jake Locker might end up getting it, yep, for week 16, his week 16 performance where he did throw for 3 touchdowns and have 2 rushing. So, yep, pretty nice, assortment of weekly awards for our team. I don't know if assortment would be the right word, but anyway, looking at the NFL, MVP rankings, you actually see Jake Locker ahead of Chris Johnson. I was very surprised to see this, but wow, actually, wow, it's incredible. Jake Locker really doesn't want to be traded, but go to Coach of the Year. Dig Bliss looks like he's gonna win that one. Dusty McDonald over Sean Payton. I guess the game didn't have Sean Payton in it this year. I'm not really sure. It's interesting, but yeah, wow. So it looks like Dig Bliss is gonna win that, and that's the only awards they have in this game, which is kind of shitty, but well, not a big deal. And I think that's pretty much gonna wrap up this video. I don't feel like showing you guys the team stats, and we'll just quickly simulate through the wildcard weekend. So we'll take a quick look at the league schedule, which for some reason is under statistics this year. Sorry, talking too fast for myself. I often do that, but we got Jaguars, Steelers, Eagles, Giants, Texans, Chargers, and Panthers, Vikings. So we're going to go over, simulate that, and then we'll see who we play. See, just advancing through the week here into the divisional weekend of the playoffs. Sorry, this takes a little bit of time. Alright, so we don't know who we're playing yet. Go over to league schedule. And it looks like, I'm not even looking at that screen, I'm going straight to the wild card. The Jaguars beat the Steelers, so the Jaguars' improbable season continues. The Eagles, wow, they destroyed the Giants, putting up 52 on that defense, pretty impressive. The Texans beat the Chargers, and the Panthers beat the Vikings. So that sets up the matchups. Ooh, this is going to be an interesting one. Jaguars at Titans. 3rd time we play the Jaguars this year, so hopefully you guys are going to be looking forward to that one. Eagles, Saints, Texans, Jets, and Panthers, Seahawks. But that's going to wrap up this video, so I hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned till next week when we will go up against the 8-8 Jacksonville Jaguars. But as I said, thanks for watching. So I'm out. Peace.